Well, these were dark. Must be from the DC universe. Hey everybody, welcome to Mainely Movies. Today we're going to be continuing to focus on Oscar-related content. There are going to be countless videos out there talking about and ranking the major Oscar categories, but I wanted to dig a little deeper and bring you some content that focuses on, arguably, the most underappreciated categories, the short films. I was lucky enough to be able to see all of the Oscar-nominated shorts again this year, so I wanted to talk about them as part of a 3-part Rankography series, so even those who haven't had a chance to watch them might have an opportunity to get a sense of them before the ceremony. If you're new here, please consider subscribing for a variety of movie-related content like reviews, ranked lists, and trailer reactions. I've already talked about the documentary and live-action shorts, so that leaves us with our final category, the animated shorts. This is typically the most widely screened of the 3 categories, and is usually a little bit on the lighter side, but that was certainly not the case this year. I've been going to watch the shorts for years now, and this was easily the darkest set I've seen, and the first time that animation was the worst of the 3 shorts categories. By a lot. The 5 nominees are Affairs of the Art, Bestia, Boxballet, Robin Robin, and the Windshield Wiper. Since this is a rankography, I'm going to be ranking these shorts, but remember, this is just my ranking, not the ranking, so be sure to post your own personal ranking of the 2022 animated short film Oscar nominees in the comments below. Coming in at number 5, Affairs of the Art. This is a joint UK-Canadian submission and was directed by Joanna Quinn. Using hand-drawn animation, it focuses on middle-aged Beryl, who is currently obsessed with becoming an artist, and recounts the peculiar obsessions other members of her family have had over the years. On the whole, the animated shorts nominees were pretty rough this year, and this was definitely the worst of the bunch for me. I've never seen any of the other Beryl shorts before, but this film doesn't strike me as one that's particularly dependent on pre-existing story or characterization. I hate being negative when talking about movies, but there was very little about this film that was redeeming for me. Probably the best aspect was the animation itself, though even that's not a style I particularly liked. It's a very sketchy, hand-drawn animation style, so I admire the amount of time and effort that had to have gone into making it more than I do the actual product. Similarly, it touches on some worthwhile themes regarding seeking out and following one's passions, but man, is this an off-putting and abrasive short. I disliked every character, which certainly made it a bit more challenging to get into, and it's got a lot of gross and mildly disturbing things that just make it an uncomfortable watch. And on top of that, the story doesn't have much structure to it. It's kind of this meandering monologue that Beryl gives as she recounts various past events, and it just did not work for me at all. Coming in at number 4, Bestia. This is a Chilean submission and was directed by Hugo Covarrubias. This stop-motion short focuses on a mysterious woman and her dog as they go about their unusual daily routine. I mentioned that these animated shorts were pretty dark overall this year, but this one easily takes the cake. This short has no dialogue, but right from the beginning, it has this unsettling, ominous atmosphere, so before anything even gets revealed, it's already uncomfortable. This is further enhanced by the stop-motion animation style, and the very cold, emotionless porcelain faces of the human characters. But wow, is this a messed up film? This is easily the darkest, most disturbing Oscar nominee I've ever seen. I saw this in the theater, and including my friend and myself, there were 5 of us there. And about 3/4 of the way through this, 2 people got up and walked out, very vocally expressing their disgust. I've never seen a walkout during any of the Oscar shorts before, so that tells you a little something about this particular film. I was fully prepared to put this at the bottom of the list, in spite of its decent animation, but after getting home, I looked into it to try to get a sense of what the hell I had just watched, and learned that this was actually inspired by a true story and a woman named Ingrid Olderock. That knowledge makes the situation all the more disturbing, but did increase my appreciation for the film a little bit. Coming in at number 3, The Windshield Wiper. This is a Spanish submission and was directed by Alberto Mielgo. Using a unique blend of animation techniques, this short uses a plotless series of vignettes to explore the answer to the question, what is love? Any other year, this would have easily taken the number 5 spot in the Rankography, but somehow it manages to be number 3. I didn't hate this, and I'm not even sure I could say that I disliked it. It just did nothing for me. It seems like every year we always get that one esoteric philosophical short, and this is this year's. I know some people won't be bothered by it, but the lack of a plot or any real structure to speak of makes it fairly unengaging for me. I will say that I did like the animation style. It was this unique blend of techniques that's a little hard to describe, but it looked good. And even a few of the vignettes, the ones that were lingered on a little longer, like the supermarket Tinder swipers, were okay. But on the whole, it was sort of this empty philosophical pondering. I saw the animated shorts with a friend of mine, and I think she summed up this one very well by saying that the feeling she had after watching this short was the same as the feeling she gets after reading anything by Hemingway. Coming in at number 2, Boxballet. This is a Russian submission and was directed by Anton Diakov. It uses a watercolor-like cel-shaded animation style to tell the story of a ballerina and boxer who meet in 1991. So this is one of only 2 animated shorts nominees this year that I actually enjoyed. It's another dialogue-free short, so it's very dependent on visuals to tell its story, and I think that might actually be what this film does best. The animation style is very eye-catching. It mostly uses dull colors, but exaggerates the character designs as well as proportions and movement to really emphasize certain characteristics, especially the differences between the ballerina character and the boxer character. The story itself is pretty simple, but it's got some fun moments and humorous situations that make it endearing. But again, with this year's set of shorts, there's definitely some darkness to it that makes it uncomfortable at times. And I'm not sure about the ending. I don't mind what happens, it just feels like such an abrupt ending to the story, almost as if it was originally supposed to have some more, but was cut short for some reason. So that means my number 1 Oscar animated short of 2022 is Robin Robin. This is a UK submission and was co-directed by Daniel Ojari and Michael Please. It's a stop-motion animated film that tells the story of a robin who's raised by a family of mice and must contend with the dual aspects of her identity. This is the first film that they played during the animated shorts reel this year, and I gotta say that starting with this one really lulls you into a false sense of security. This is the first time since 2009 that a Disney or Pixar film hasn't been nominated in the category, which I think is crazy, because Disney's Us Again was easily my favorite short of last year. But just because Disney and Pixar were out of it this year doesn't mean all of the nominees were indie shorts, with Robin Robin being an Aardman production. They ditched the plasticine claymation look for the first time ever here, instead opting for a warmer felt-based stop-motion style. Unlike the other nominees, this is a fairly cheerful film that actually has a complete narrative. It's a Christmas story and a musical, so it gets a little too saccharine at times, and it's a very predictable story, but it's still a sweet one about family, being true to oneself, and discovering personal strengths. In a normal year, this one probably would have been in the middle of the pack for me, but this year, it's my number 1 by quite a margin. Each year, in addition to the 5 nominees, the animated shorts reel usually has 3 or so additional highly commended films that just missed the cut for being nominated. In the past, I have also talked about and ranked these highly commended films, but I can't do that this year, because they didn't include any. I don't know if this was a time limitation thing, or just a consequence of the fact that they had a warning between the second and third nominees telling people to take their kids out of the theater, but no extra films this year. Hopefully they make a return next year, because honestly, they tend to be better than some of the actual nominees. Alright, so that's my rankography of the 2022 Oscar nominees for animated short film. Have you had a chance to see these animated shorts? If so, what does your ranking look like? I'd love to see some reasoning for your order, so be sure to post it in the comments below. Also, be sure to check out my rankographies of the documentary and live action shorts, and stop back later this week for some more Oscar-related content. Alright, so if you got some enjoyment, insight, or information out of this rankography, I'd appreciate it if you'd hit that like button, and if you haven't done so already, please hit subscribe if you're at it to see more rankographies like this, as well as movie reviews. Till next time, this has been Alyssa with Mainely Movies, the way life should be.